Church leaders prepare to farewell 2014 and usher in a new year. Bad habits and good health, some of the resolutions for 2015. Missing plane found in the waters of Indonesia.
To ensure that we can look after them.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartulo.
Good evening. This is the news on the last day of 2014. 2014 has been full of events for Papua New Guineans, politically, socially and spiritually. There is a lot to be thankful for and a lot to be grateful for. While the general public will be having celebrations to welcome the new year, churches in the nation's capital will be having evening service to end the year and welcome 2015.
2014 can be described as an eventful year, not just for individuals but for the country as a whole. Many end the year and welcome the new year with celebrations. It is also a time to be thankful for the many blessings one has received. Some churches in the nation's capital and around the country will be having evening service to mark the end of the year and to welcome the new year. Reverend Sir Samson Loa, Senior Minister of the Sioni Kami Memorial Church in Port Moresby, said there will be a service this evening to reflect on the year and prepare for 2015.
And having this kind of crossovers is a great challenge. How have you lived 2014 and how will you live 2015? It is a great time to look back, evaluate and ask what you can do better. And God wants us always to do better for our lives and for others.
Other churches, like the St. Joseph Catholic Parish in Morocco, will be having Mass tomorrow to welcome the new year. Father Kevin Dance, St. Joseph Parish priest, said there will be a Mass tomorrow morning as security has been an issue for many parishioners who attend evening Mass. Apart from that, he also added that due to only half the congregation turning up for Christmas Mass, the service will be held tomorrow. Judith Kasek, National EMTV News.
2014 has been very good for Papua New Guinea. This is from the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands. General Secretary Father Victor Roche said while progress has been made in vital service delivery areas, there are still a lot left to be done in the coming year.
In terms of the health sector, Father Victor said we have made significant progress in the decrease of malaria cases, but we have a long way to go in terms of TB cases in the country.
PNG was ranked second among the 37 countries of the Western Pacific region in TB, tuberculosis. About 14,000 people were affected annually and more than 4,000 people die every year. But the fight is still going on, but we are doing better in this.
While PNG struggles with corruption issues, a good sign towards progress in this area is the sentencing of prominent leaders who have been found guilty of misconduct in office.
Law and order is still a big problem for Papua New Guinea. As you all know, two disciplinary forces themselves have their problems and are not resolved yet.
For 2015, the Catholic Church as a whole will still focus on the family unit. This time the focus will be to encourage evangelism within and through the Catholic family. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Father Victor has appealed to parents to instill values in their children. He said they should not rely only on teachers to pass on essential values that children need to guide them through life.
The family is on the crossroads and they are bombarded by the modern values, the values of TV, internet, cell phones. So I want the family, the parents to take ownership of the looking after the children. Let them not leave it only to the teachers in the school, because they are only from 8 to 4 or 6. But the other times, the children are under their care, but they are not taking care of them. So I want the parents to take ownership of looking after their children, giving the right values for the children. Good families, good country.
As everyone prepares to welcome 2015, police in the National Capital District are preparing for what will be the final but longest roadblock for 2014. Police personnel and traffic officers will be conducting at least 12 hours of roadblocks in different parts of Port Moresby starting tonight. This operation began at 6 p.m. this evening and will run until tomorrow morning.
Major roadblocks have been set up in all electorates in Port Moresby to closely monitor an estimated number of 500 vehicles that will be on the road tonight. Traffic officers will be doing thorough checks on every vehicle to ensure motorists are not transporting alcohol, betel nuts or any illegal items. They will also be monitoring the overloading of vehicles. So far, police operations have seen the confiscation of almost 100 driver's licenses and at least 70 unregistered vehicles were impounded. Most of these impounded vehicles are privately registered but have a taxi plate. Tonight's operation will run until tomorrow morning. An NCD Metropolitan Superintendent and the BAWA has issued directives to officers on the ground to arrest or charge anyone found to have broken the law. Those caught will be charged for breaking traffic rules. Their license will be confiscated and vehicles impounded.
We will make sure that those people who are responsible are taken into custody and are dealt with.
Meanwhile, police say the imposed ban on the sale of alcohol in residential areas has greatly minimized cases of alcohol-related problems in their communities. As of Sunday, 70 cartons of illegal beer were removed from unlicensed beer operators and 7 arrests made. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Lay police will be targeting illegal liquor outlets operating in the city in tonight's New Year operations. Lay Metropolitan Superintendent Commander Ivan Lakatani says police have confiscated a good number of beer cartons in their Christmas operations and will do the same tonight. Police will also come down hard on homebrew consumption and drunkards causing nuisance to the public. Sylvester Gawi has this report.
Police will be conducting their usual foot patrols in search for people who are trying to disturb the New Year's celebrations in Lay City. Many liquor shops were closed today, but the police say unlicensed resellers will be dealt with accordingly. During the Christmas operation, the Lay police boss Ivan Lakatani says about 80 beer cartons were confiscated from an unlicensed reseller.
SP bottles and 47 cartons of SP can. They were confiscated because...
But while Lay police will be on the lookout for illegal black market beer sellers, homebrew production and consumption is another concern for the public. In previous months, public holidays and liquor bans have seen many people consuming homebrew. These have caused many social problems within families and communities, and police will not be tolerating such actions. While there have been no firm word on a possible liquor ban, police will be strictly monitoring the illegal selling of beer in the city.
There's more than this. There's some more in the container, which the key is now in the hands of the police to make sure that nobody moves any stuff out of that container.
2014 has been a very challenging year for the police force, with a rise in law and order problems. Many of these problems have been fueled by the consumption of homebrew and marijuana. But as 2014 closes in, police will be out in full force to ensure residents welcome the new year in a peace and respectful manner. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV News, Lay.
You're watching National EMTV News. Coming up after the break, New Year resolutions from NCD and Lay residents. Welcome back to the news. New Year, new beginnings. People the world over make resolutions to forego their old habits. Opposition leader Don Polye has made his too. His focus will be on his family, a commitment to God, and to work for a better Papua New Guinea. He says resolutions, if acted upon seriously, can bring about lasting change to a person's behavior, eventually contributing to a more meaningful life.
Number one, my family, my sons and my daughters. Number two is my God. Number three is what I can do for Papua New Guinea people a bit better. So I'm writing new policies, I'm doing new strategies, I'm doing a lot of research to see what is the best economic model for PNG. So that's number three resolution. With more government commitment to it.
EMTV lay members Bethany Harriman and cameraman Maisen Hongito took a bus ride today to get the New Year's resolutions for lay residents. Most residents say they want to stop drinking, and others are grateful for getting through 2014 alive and in good health. Bethany Harriman with this report.
These people getting on this bus, like all others around the country, have gone through 2014 with personal challenges. Every day for ordinary Papua New Guineans is a challenge, high costs of living and social problems. As the bus continues its route to Bumayong, we talk to some of the residents.
Last year, 2014, you missed up, and one good liar, you missed up, but now I'm 2015 and we missed up.
Joel Puri, like many young people around PNG, spent 2014 looking for employment opportunities. At this turn of the new year, he hopes to stop drinking and focus on getting a job.
For
the more elderly in the bus, they share similar sentiments of good health and mind.
I pray long time, look at change life, family. I changed the life, man, drink beer and spark now. But now this last day, me believe also God and change man, the bus.
Agnes Wafi, originally from Yanguru in the East Sepik province, was overwhelmed when we asked her about her year.
But my mama let me stop this day now.
Next year, by me so first over next year.
But as we traveled on to Bumayong, we got to know most of the passengers on the bus. Like the rest of PNG going about their daily lives today, these people are preparing for tonight's celebrations. They have gone through their challenges for this year and hope to change in 2015. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Ley.
In Port Moresby, most members of the public aired their New Year resolutions and called for city authorities to change their approach towards street vendors. Most contemplated to stop unhealthy habits like drinking alcohol, while others were optimistic about upcoming events in 2015. Jack Laupave Jr. with this report.
With the countdown to 2015 only hours away, the public in Port Moresby were drawn away with their own New Year resolutions. Most say 2014 has been a year of achievements in sustaining their families through the informal sector.
Sales customer all buy the street money family something next year 2015.
At the 4-mile bus stop, drivers and the crew wanted traffic authorities to be honest in their work as the city prepares to host major events beginning next year. They say the public transport system is an important part of the city and proper approaches must be taken.
2015 police must walk straight now. On good road, some of them don't walk straight, but all walk still more sunny, also more streets.
Good life, Blumila Lusimna. How about man 2015?
For others, they were not sure what 2015 would bring, but say life will always be the same.
Look, playa 2015, Bambla go for it. Bambla stop buto, Nagato, and Bambla Sabla Gaman Serviso.
Jack Laupave Jr., National EMTV News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3855 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3780 $0.4586 Australian dollars, $0.3076 euro, and 44.73 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra all closed higher. Palm oil and copper closed lower, while crude oil closed higher. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed at 55 points lower, the ASX closed at 3 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 46 points lower as well. Housing remains a concern for police. That story when we return. Welcome back to the news. 2014 has been a challenging year for the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. In Lae, Morobe Province, the increasing economic activity has put policemen and women under immense pressure. Apart from dealing with Lae's law and order problems, they have had to put up with squalid living conditions in their homes. Earlier today, members of our Lae Bureau visited Bumbu Police Barracks, one of the oldest police barracks in the country. The Bumbu Barracks is home to more than 100 members of Lae's police force who continue to live in houses that are on the verge of collapsing. Edwin Fidelis with tonight's special report.
Bathroom, toilet, toilet cover, toilet seat looking. La outside them sting, bagarab.
These pictures taken at Lae's Bumbu Police Barracks show the severity of Lae's police housing problem. Elizabeth Kenda, who recently moved into Bumbu Police Barracks from Bulolo with her husband, had to spend at least half of her husband's salary to pay for building materials to repair their house, a task that should have been done by the police department.
Inside la usem bagarab bolgeta room lo mipla lo silip lo pikinini toilet bathroom lo mipla bagarab sink lo mipla brook time lo rain em slab em flat em se sit down house em stop inside lo wara and when em something lo here emba one kind lo narap lo house too emba one kind tason used bakam na luglug na tok we mipla ken tok ol sem na usem mi tok e by all department lo mipla ken lokim all big boss lo mipla na.
Just a block away, Lindy Lingau is still living with her children and grandchildren in this rundown house. Her husband, Chief Sergeant Chris Lingau, passed away last year. She is still negotiating with the police department to arrange for her family's repatriation back to their own province.
All talking me saying, Papa, I got Papa Samplatan, Papa Proxim overpayment. Na, I got all the now. Na, you play banana kisim finish pay. You play basta bosem na wetim pure except tasol na. But you play kisim na all place. And you know one way like this la talk we all giving me.
These pictures that you have just seen are houses of police officers in Lae. While Lae City grows, it will need more police personnel to cater to its growing law and order problems. But at the moment, bringing new police personnel into Lae seems impossible because of the housing problem.
Officers in higher ranks like the Metropolitan Commander Ivan Lakatani are making a strong representation of their men and women, calling for change in the police accommodation.
The accommodation that we have in the past remains as it is today. You know, they think, talking about building 500 houses, you know, I would need those 500 houses to be built. We know that the population is growing, more developments are taking place as developments are taking place, more criminal activities are also happening.
The housing difficulties faced by the Lae police only give a small picture of similar problems faced by police officers all over the country. In Medang, it is no different. The wives say their husbands have been suffering from low morale at work because of their living conditions, but even if they did, they never showed it. While families of police officers are frustrated about their living conditions, national politicians have remained largely silent on the issue. There hasn't been any immediate response from leaders and those in authority in recent years. But many of them chose not to talk about their daily struggles because they know their previous calls to those in authority haven't been answered yet. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Lae.
While most government services have been restored in the autonomous region of Bougainville, the state-owned entity in charge of electricity power supply has been bombarded with critics for failing to address constant blackouts. PNG Power Limited has been criticized for the constant power blackouts in Arawa, central Bougainville, that has irked power users.
While power users of Arawa in Kiti district have appreciated the restoration of electricity supply by PNG Power Limited, what has now become a concern are constant power blackouts. Daily operations have been affected by this occurrence from administration, business houses, homes and health facilities.
Kitty District Office Executive Manager is Lucy Travets said with the growth of business and economic activities, this is disgraceful for a state-owned entity.
Definitely it's affecting the business houses, it's affecting the administration. Like now we don't have power, and when there's no power we run our small private generators, and then it costs money again because we have to hire those generators.
Business houses are worried about the preser goods accommodated in shops and guest houses that are unhealthy for consumers. The PNG Power Limited management has been called on to at least explain the reasons for the outages rather than keeping power users in the dark.
Trying to find how we can improvise with these things with PNG Power. But I think it is really up to the manager of PNG Power and ABG to look into this.
Meanwhile, locals also raised concerns on the lack of regular inspections despite connection fees being paid. Comments from the PNG Power management were unsuccessful. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The National Capital District Commission Waste Management Division came out clear today that they are not in charge of collecting rubbish in and around the city. This comes after complaints from city residents yesterday blaming them for not collecting rubbish on time. Rubbish has not been collected for nearly a month now.
Today, the NCDC Waste Management Division went out to Port Moresby streets, collecting garbage that was left neglected for nearly a month. This is part of their standby job when the contractor in charge of collecting rubbish goes on break on public holidays. Speaking off camera, the Waste Management Division staff said they only supervise and assist appointed contractor who's in charge of the city's garbage collection. Yesterday, city residents were complaining about the overflowing of garbage in front of their yards and along city roadsides.
You can see drainage and blockage and stuff. No people have must be okay. Waste management come day to day, leave work. So our rubbish is now polluted road now, along the roadside. So who's going to do all these jobs?
While residents are complaining about the overflowing of garbage and the kind of smell it brings, sewage leakage is one other issue in the city. This is what it looks like at downtown Port Moresby. It's creating a pool of water full of rubbish at the base of this power pole. It is also blocking the pedestrian footpath and creating a traffic hazard. Meanwhile, the Waste Management Division is urging city residents to pack their rubbish in proper garbage or plastic bags and place them in garbage bin to make work easier for their employees who manually pick up the rubbish. Fasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Vehicles travelling in and out of Port Moresby regularly checked through 3 roadblocks conducted along sections of Porebada Road, Magi and Hiritano highways. Central Province Transport Authority, in a joint operation with the National Road Safety Council and Traffic Police, are checking vehicles for roadworthiness and those transporting alcohol or betel nut in and out of Port Moresby.
In a joint operation this festive season, Central Police Road Safety Authority, in partnership with the National Road Safety Council and the Police Traffic Unit, has conducted roadblocks outside of Port Moresby. One was conducted at the Porebada Road. The other was stationed at Laloki on the Iritano Highway and Taira area along the Magi Highway. Vehicles travelling into Port Moresby from Central and Gulf provinces have been checked at these roadblocks.
We have 3 teams operating, manning the 3 main highways, those being Magi Highway, Iritano Highway and Porebada. Sugeri comes under Iritano Highway, which is accessible by the 2 roads.
These vehicles overloading with smooth tires without registration or crew permit and driver's license have been fined. Unregistered vehicles are impounded at CPT headquarters in Port Moresby. Vehicles running unauthorized routes are charged.
According to their offences, we charge them. When the vehicle is unregistered, we charge them for unregistered and uninsured motor vehicle, and also the owner of the PNV is authorizing the driver to drive the unregistered motor vehicle on the public road.
Road safety personnel have been carrying out this operation since 13 December last month. Meanwhile, About 10 bags of betel nuts transported in a vehicle were confiscated by police at Laloki roadblock this morning. Speaking off camera, policemen said betel nut smugglers carrying betel nut will be charged and vehicle will be impounded at the nearest police station. This road safety operation will continue until January 3, 2015. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Teperoi Primary, a remote school in central Bougainville, will benefit from an infrastructure development package thanks to the National Airports Corporation. This is because of its condition and location, which has been affected by climate change. The project will be developed under a joint partnership program between the National Airports Corporation and Teperoi Primary School.
Teperoi Primary School is located along the coast of Wakunai District, central Bougainville. The school was built near a lagoon and in recent times has been experiencing rising sea level threats. Locals have raised the climatic change issue along the coastline, with most of the waterfront and beaches already washed away. A teaching staff, Nigel Sarake, told EMTV News that classes are suspended because of the high tide, and he fears the school is sinking fast and the children's education might be disrupted.
When there's high tide, normally we don't normally close the class. High tide doesn't go to the classrooms, but it only ends in these areas. So,
Acting Managing Director Joseph Tuperi told EMTV News NAC will give support by relocating the school and building new infrastructure. A new location has been identified at Tanakut Plantation in Wakunai. The project includes design and construction of classrooms, teachers' houses, water supply and playing fields, which cost around 5 billion kina in total. As casualties of global warming, the community needs help, and this NAC project is part of its community engagement to support less fortunate communities affected by global warming. Fundraising activities will also be conducted to drive the initiative. Appeals have been made to corporate organizations to show this support. Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, and the first bodies have been recovered from Java Sea off Borneo, where it is confirmed Flight 8501 crashed. Now devastated relatives face the grim reality. It's unlikely there will be any survivors.
Being lowered into the Java Sea, an Indonesian rescuer has the depressing task of retrieving a body from the water. Officials have confirmed the wreckage found floating off the coast of Borneo is that of Air Asia Flight 8501. 162 people were on board when the aircraft went missing. As they watched the horrific live pictures being broadcast, waiting families realised their relatives would not be found alive. So far, the Navy has recovered numerous bodies. Air Asia is now preparing to take families to the site as the mission's changed from a rescue to a salvage operation. Indonesian officials have now confirmed the wreckage and the bodies are from the missing flights.
You know, it's an experience I never dreamt of happening, and it's probably an airline CEO's worst nightmare. After 13 years of flying millions of people, it is the worst feeling one could have. But we stay strong for the families out there to ensure that we can look after them even after this incident.
A rescue aircraft also spotted what appears to be plane wreckage on the seabed. Indonesia's National Search and Rescue Agency chief says an Air Force Hercules found an object described as the shadowy form of a plane at the bottom of the sea. All the items found will be brought back here to the crisis centre. It's coordinating the operation. Officials are still trying to piece together exactly what happened 3 days ago. Flight 8501 lost radar contact in poor weather on Sunday morning as it travelled from the Indonesian city of Surabaya to Singapore. At 12 minutes past 6, the pilot spoke to Indonesian air traffic control, asking to ascend to 38,000 feet and deviate to the left of the planned flight route. Air traffic control then granted the request to move to the left side, but they refused the request to fly higher because of other planes in the area. The Air Asia plane was last seen on radar a couple of minutes later at 6:16. There was no further communication at this point. all attempts by the air traffic controllers to get back in contact proving unsuccessful. The Transport Minister is now on his way to the site of the debris. It looks likely Malaysian radar suggesting the aircraft stalled after climbing too slowly in poor conditions might be correct. The black box and voice recorders will be critical to get answers. For now, though, the confirmation means that families can begin to grieve for their loved ones lost on Flight 8501.
Back home now and in the lead up to Trukai Sports, after surrendering their firearms to police 2 weeks ago, reformed youth of the Mosby Northeast electorate want to help police in the 2015 Pacific Games. They say they want to provide security for public commuters during the Games next year and are calling on the government to help support this initiative.
The 2015 Pacific Games will attract thousands of people from all over PNG and the Pacific to Port Moresby. It will be a huge security challenge for the police and the PNG Defence Force. 2014 was a bad year for the police in NCD and other parts of the country. Attacks on police officers and 2 deaths over the past 3 months has questioned the capabilities of the police. However, NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Andy Bauer has reaffirmed that the police force is ready to take on the Pacific Games.
We are preparing ourselves, we're gearing ourselves, and we're looking forward to it as well. But again, we will need support from members of the community to help and support us to ensuring that these challenges are met and that we can rest assured our neighbors from around the Pacific who come to enjoy the Games feel safe and feel secure that, yes, of course, despite what they hear and what they see on the news, it's not as bad as it is when they set foot here in Port Moresby.
Providing security at the Unagi Gardens bus stop for city residents, the reform youths of Mosby Northeast are planning for bigger things next year. They want to be part of the Pacific Games. Spokesman Taylor Enoga said with the many developments the city is undertaking to welcome the Games, they want to be part of the development.
All by sacrificing people, lo making this like work gona. Gaman ba luksa lo mimpla. All sorry lo mimpla next step mari lo mimpla all gim samla lilo kontra work bambla benefit lo des la bambla kai ken bambla stop na hamas na work one time.
They want to provide security for public commuters during the Games. They say after giving away their arms to the police, they want to engage in positive community service.
2015 South Pacific Games member sungi mimpla go inside na work bambla work one time police this la kain. Emol bibla work start lo kawam so mimpla hamas through na mimpla take pride lo city bambla na mimpla hamas so city work senis tu na woman ko senis tu mimpla senis na in place ba senis.
While Andy Bauer says they have no police powers, the youths will assist the police to stop petty crime. Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News.
Trukai Sports is next. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. After making his comeback at the 2014 World Swimming Championships in Doha, Ryan Pinney is ready for his final showdown at the Pacific Games in 2015. Pinney's road to recovery certainly hasn't been easy after undergoing 4 shoulder operations. However, he remains optimistic about leading the PNG swim team next year.
Ryan Pinney, one of Papua New Guinea's greatest athletes, often recognized for more than his sporting excellence, has made a comeback into international swim meets. His success dates back more than 10 years, earning his first gold medal at the 1999 South Pacific Games, followed by a number of other achievements in the year 2003, 2007 and 2011. The most recognizable achievement of his sporting career makes reference to the 2006 Commonwealth Games. Pinney broke the world record of the 100-meter butterfly sprints, earning Papua New Guinea's second Commonwealth gold medal. However, Pinney, alongside his family, say that the opportunity to compete at the Pacific Games on home soil will be different, unique and very special.
Excited about doing that and giving the rest of the country an opportunity to see him swim at full speed. You know, he gets to swim here at the smaller swimming carnivals, but competing at an international level high quality meat is something very special.
His wife Carly, who supports him entirely, never realised the scale of his success until moving to Papua New Guinea.
Initially, I didn't really know how famous he was until I actually moved here, and everyone wanted his photo, everyone wanted his autograph. So it was a bit to take in when I first came here to live, but yeah, it makes me quite proud to know that he has the nation behind him.
While Penny hasn't had the smoothest of all sporting careers, he has a very good chance to make his country proud come 2015.
I know that it will be a big thing, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on quite a lot of athletes to be able to win gold. So I'm trying to prepare myself now for it.
Lorraine Genia, National, EMTV Sports.
2014 has been a great year for rugby league in PNG. The highlight was the introduction of the SP PNG Hunters in the Intrust Super Cup competition. The seeded yet homegrown talents from the semi-professional rugby league competition, the Digicel Cup, made their debut in the Australian second-tier competition. The Hunters staged a gallant performance and by far maintained the 5th position on the ladder right throughout the season. They have nothing to lose with the inclusion of new players for 2015, while the blessing of Albert, Puara and Tete to further their rugby league career with NRL clubs.
The Hunters' participation in the ISC competition created history for Papua New Guinea. It was for the first time for PNG to ever team in the Australian competition. It was a collaborative effort by the government, the rugby league fraternity and inspiring individuals who didn't rest until the team took center stage. The Hunters came out on top in the first opening trial match against Northern Pride, but there was room for improvement, a fact that was obvious when they played CQ Caprice. Star-studded Vipers halfback Israel Eliab piloted the team trial matches through and was pleased with what he saw. However, he said they still needed more work done, especially with ball handling. In the final season proper match, Hunters lock Adam Korave returned from injury and pushed for selection in the final 17-man team. The 4 straight home ground wins gave enough momentum for the Hunters to face off against a tough Seagulls outfit, who were finding form ahead of the finals. The 40-22 win over Ipswich Jets in round 23 determined an unchanged starting 13 with 7 players off the bench. The Maroon coach side gained a reputation at Callabon Oval ever since they dubbed it as their graveyard. The winner Manly Seagulls were expected to pose a threat for our boys with a strong contingent on their own turf. The impressive debut season for the Hunters in the Intrust Super Cup competition has made it tough to decide a possible nominee for the SP Player of the Year award. The Hunters' ethics both on and off the field was superb right from the beginning, gaining favourable support from PNG and Australia. Noel Zemming scored himself the Digicel Top Point Scorer award, Roger Laka scooped the Boroko Motors PNG RFL Chairman's Bonara award, and UCB Rookie of the Year went to Stanton Albert, and Players Player of the Year was awarded to Adex Vera. Skipper Israel Eliab received the SBS Best Back, and the Edge Best Forward went to Sebastian Pandya. A double celebration for Willie Minoga and Gary Law, with the MRDC Coaches Award and the Carmichael Builders Top Try Scorer Award respectively. The hero of the night was Wartovo Puara Jr. with the Player of the Year award. And with that came the good news: Puara, along with Stanton Albert and Thompson Tete, made it into the NRL. For the Hunters, nothing has been lost, as the vacancies now as it paved the way for upcoming talents to make their mark on the international scene. Tere Alex, National, EMTV Sports.
Well known for his cheeky attitude and signature moves, the launching of Tura the Kokomo, mascot of the 2015 Pacific Games earlier this year, has brought the country together in spreading the message of the 2015 Pacific Games. Since then, Tura has been around the country attending Pacific Games sponsorship events, Games-related launchings and meeting and greeting local communities. Godwin Eki looks back at the year that was with Tura.
The launching of the Pacific Games official mascot this year was a successful and significant event for the country for the Games, originally designed and named by a local schoolboy, Taka Segore, at the village of Tubuserea. Tura has become well known all over the country. The official launching brought together sporting enthusiasts, athletes and school children in the nation's capital to celebrate the success of Tura da Kokomo. Tura has since attracted so many people in the country with his moves, wiggles and his posh personality. Tura attended several events in Port Moresby, from visiting schools in the nation's capital to visiting church events in the community to pass on the message of the 2015 Pacific Games. Tura also attended several sponsorship events of the 2015 Pacific Games featuring well-known companies in the country. Becoming famous and successful in the capital city of Port Moresby, Tura started his country tour, visiting provinces in the country to spread the message of the 2015 Pacific Games. Tura's final and last province to visit on his country tour was Lae in the Morobe province. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
We have overseas cricket coming up next, right after these messages.
True Kai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To cricket now, and the fourth test between Australia and India begins at the Sydney Cricket Ground next Tuesday. No sign of tension between the two sides that is about to subside.
A play in the park for the kids of Australia's triumphant test side. The series secure, 2-0 with one test to play, but captain Steve Smith still forced to defend his conservative Day 5 declaration.
Well, look, it would have been nice to have won the match, that's for sure. But as I said before, the series win is the most important thing to us.
Today the team checked out of Melbourne and flew into Sydney, primed at the prospect of taking down India under the direction of new captain Virat Kohli.
I'm looking forward to getting out there again with the C next to Virat Kohli, and let's see if he comes out with a banter that he did this game. I think he might rein it in a little bit now that he's captain, but look, we're going to be doing everything we can to try and get under his skin again.
Sean Marsh still stewing on his decision to take a quick single on 99.
Well, it's the first time I've been out in 99, so it was a bit of a strange feeling. But look, there was a few words said.
Tuesday's fourth test will be the first time the side plays at the SCG since Phillip Hugh's death there late last month.
Hopefully all the players that were out there on that horrible day will be okay.
I'm going to be proud again of the guys to get out there after what happened, to Hughesy, and it's going to be emotional for us.
The team will train at the ground for the first time on Saturday, with two-test 21-year-old Ashton Agar added to the squad.
I was just over the moon. I think I was a bit shocked at first, but then after that it just felt, like a dream come true again.
Former Grand Slam finalist Mark Philippoussis believes Australian tennis is on the verge of a new golden era, but he has warned rising stars about the pitfalls of sudden fame.
Now holding court as a new dad,
this is little Nicholas.
Tennis is no longer everything for 38-year-old Mark Philippoussis, but after lobbing at Melbourne Park for the Legends tournament, the memories quickly flooded back, including his epic victory over Pete Sampras in 1996.
6-4, 7-6, 7-6.
Just a teenager back then, that triumph kick-started a colourful career.
What followed, I wasn't prepared for, honestly.
The likes of Nick Kyrgios and Thanasi Kokkinakis are now around the same age. He wants to make sure they flourish, not flounder on their home courts. Kyrgios especially, who Scud believes is primed to win a slam.
He's an incredible talent. He has all the game, all the weapons to become one of the best in the world. Growing up in the public eye is not easy, and you're going to make mistakes.
The man himself is busy honing his radar ahead of the Hopman Cup, where he'll pair up with Casey Delacroix. But the open hype is hard to ignore.
The home crowd, it's going to be unbelievable, but right now I'm just doing everything I can to prepare, trying to stay healthy, training as much as I can.
Also primed Sam Stosur. Dogged by foot problems through the year, she'll again carry the weight of expectation on those broad shoulders.
I am one of the older ones now, but I don't feel like I'm slowing down, so that's a good feeling.
And Trukai Sports ends here. I'll have the weather details for you up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather information is brought to you by Tablebirds.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, Port Moresby, possible evening showers, light southwesterly winds. Daru, evening showers with light southeasterly winds. Brief evening showers with light southeasterly winds for Alotau, and evening showers with light northeasterly winds for Popondetta. To the Momasa region, Leh, you can expect a few showers. Few showers with moderate northeasterly winds for Madang, showers and thunderstorms for Wewak, and a few showers with fresh northwesterly winds with gusts for Vanimo. Over to the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, you can expect showers and thunderstorms. You can expect moderate northwesterly winds with gusts. Brief showers with moderate westerly winds for Kavieng. Kokopo and Rabaul, you can expect brief evening showers with light southwesterly winds with gusts. A few showers expected in Kimbe, and a shower or two with light southwesterly winds for Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, you can expect a few showers then morning fog with light variable winds. Goroka and Kundiawa, few showers then morning fog with variable winds as well. And Mendi and Wabeg, you can expect evening showers then morning fog with light variable winds. And this is where we say goodbye for 2014, but stay tuned for MTV's Year in Review. That'll be featured at 8:30 p.m. tonight. That's 8:30 p.m. PNG time, 9:30 p.m. Bougainville Standard Time. On behalf of the news team, have a pleasant night and a prosperous 2015.